Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bruce Buffer, the voice of the Octagon. And now, we are live with Between Rounds and hosts Shawn Tompkins, Ken Gonzalez, and Dave Isa. So now, it's time!
Hey everybody, Ken Gonzalez here for Between Rounds Radio Show. Coming up in hour number one of the program, huge interviews. George St. Pierre, and also a roundtable interview with his opponent, Dan Hardy. So stay tuned, and remember, hour number one brought to you by THQ, the makers of the UFC 2010 Undisputed video game. And welcome back, everybody, to Between Rounds here on Heavy.com. We're talking UFC 113.
Shogun wants it. I think he's hungry, and I think that's going to be, he's going to push the pace of the fight, and I think that's going to be what it's going to take to win the fight for Shogun.
He could go back to camp and be remotivated and build and work harder, you know, and maybe come up with those little mistakes that he made that could have capitalized and made it all work out for him.
You know, the intriguing thing about this fight, of course, is if Koscheck wins, would Dana White want to now pair his next fight with John Fitch?
This fight will be for who fights George St. Pierre next.
Fight camps are going to have to go against each other.
Why does it seem that wrestling is just not even a factor of his game anymore when, especially in this fight, I think the only way he does have a chance of winning this fight is if he goes back to those roots and he sticks with the wrestling and he takes Daly off his feet.
We got Sam Stout, UFC fighter, sitting between Dave and I.
Now it's very difficult, you know, to say who's the number one guy. Is it still BJ Penn? Is it Frankie Edgar? Is it Gray Maynard who's beat Frankie Edgar? It's tough, and it really opens up a lot of doors, and I think it's really going to be interesting to see how this division plays out in the next few months to a year.
We got John Gunderson, UFC fighter, here with us, who traveled all the way to Abu Dhabi at UFC 112 and was unable to fight.
From what I understand, he just may have cut too much weight, wasn't feeling good, and was up all night with migraines. And the day of the fight, about an hour and a half before the fight started, we were on the bus to the arena, and they pulled Shawn Tompkins, my coach, off.
Do you go back to the drawing board and start all over, or what do you do?
In my opinion, it's better for me now because now I don't have to travel. I live here in Vegas, I train here in Vegas. He's got to travel a lot further than he had to Abu Dhabi. He's got to cut the weight again. So, and he's got to deal with not showing up last time. I showed up, I was ready to fight. So it's the same game plan, and he just gives me another 2 months to prepare for him.
Lyoto Machida, Mauricio Shogun Rua, the huge rematch. They fought in Los Angeles at UFC 104. Lyoto got the victory. I didn't really think he did. Shawn, you were there. You said that I was crazy, that he did. But, you know, Shawn, we're going to get to the technical side of it here in just a second. But, Dave, break this down. You know, what are we going to expect to see here?
It was a very close fight. Whether we give it to Lyoto, we give it to Shogun, it was a close fight. But I think the most important thing here is that Shogun showed the first way to counter the karate of Machida, because previously every single guy that fought him was just dominated. But Shogun proved that he had the skills and he had the game plan that could work against the karate in the cage. And so this rematch is going to be pretty interesting.
We have to look at what worked for him, and what worked for him was his leg kicks. You know, the damage that he did to the legs of Machida, even sometimes changing it up to the body kick. You know, I think that's really what we've got to look at in this fight. He's got to go back to that. He's got to continue to pressure Machida. And I think really to make a change in this fight, we have to see a change in Machida.
The coach, Shawn Tompkins, Ken Gonzalez, Dave Isa.